Okay, so now beige red. Make sure I keep this, preserve this part under the eye before I start putting darker fur down. Probably even some cinnamon. This is burnt ochre. Just kind of mapping out the eye a little bit. So the eye, I'm gonna get out my ruler. Looking at what I have going on here with this black marking and the edge of the eye, I think mine's too far. From the edge of the eye, it should really be in a little bit more. And then how far out? On the corner. That's about right. But I feel like it needs to come down a little more. Okay. Sometimes I can see where I'm off more easily when I stand up and look at the piece. But for now, I'm just going to continue mapping in these darker bits. Thinking what color I want to use. Could use walnut brown. Haven't used that today. I think it's short. It is. Okay. So I like to have my drawing at an angle. I can't draw flat on the table because I'll be off. I just put a piece of pigment right there. My proportion is off when I do that. Some people can draw like that. And if you can, that's good, but I can't. I have to have my drawing board at an angle, and some people I see even draw their pastel. They have like an easel that's straight up and down, which might be a better way to do it. For pastel or colored pencils. So this comes in more. So because I'm mapping it out, the walnut brown is a good choice because if I'm wrong, it's a little easier to get rid of it. Erase it. I like a dark sepia. All right, so this is actually a little more gray over here, but it's okay. So I'm seeing some little lines coming down. So I'm being super light, just mapping out the fur. All right, so that's the one. And then we have this black line. I don't know if that's, I think that's Hattie. She's probably chasing squirrels. I can't see her. She's on the couch in front of me, but I guarantee she's sleeping on her back with her feet in the air, and they're probably moving around. She is a good girl. I would like to jog her tomorrow, but I don't know, based on this fire stuff. So I'm just slowly trying to map in this second line that I see of fur. Some more in here. It also has made it kind of dark outside. Okay. So for this part, I'm just going to grab the sepia and map in this little black marking under his eye. Probably be using my glycine paper. I'm just going to do a light version of this, because this will be black. But it does have some little hair action going on. So don't just draw the shape, try and make it like some little black lines are coming out of it and leave some spaces in between. Something like that. Okay, so then that kind of helps me to see what's going on under here. But before we do that, we should probably put Wow. And this section, so where this stuff is coming down, ivory, we'll leave that ivory. Can you see how this is lighter than over here? Which there is some ivory hairs in here, but there's also cinnamon. So I'm not going to color the whole thing cinnamon. I'm just going to kind of mimic the hair. Especially here, but I'm not going to put it right there. Because that's pretty light. Okay, back to the sepia. Ooh, this is tricky right here. Okay. I'm going to try and map this eye shape in. Doing real light first strokes. Leaving some spaces in between. And this is where you really have to make sure you're going in the direction of the fur on the reference photo. Okay, so then down here is where that lighter color is. And this will be darker. We're just mapping it in, leaving white or, you know, whatever color's under there, spaces. Oops, always hitting that camera. Be careful right here because the shape of the direction of the fur is kind of changing. It's going like whoop, like a swoop. Okay. I'm going to sit back and look at it. So even if this doesn't mimic the, the darker black shape, because this is a little bit bigger, it doesn't matter because you're going to have these darker lines in this anyway. And then what will happen is we'll darken this to match the reference photo, and then that will make sense. So I'm just going to continue to do really light lines, but there's less lines right there. But that makes me see how much darker this needs to be. So it's kind of just going back and forth. So we could use sepia for that. Oh, Cozy, do you have to do that? Okay, so I kind of drew some shapes for that one. Instead of drawing fur lines. In here, if you look in the reference, you can see kind of some shapes. shadows. And then this comes down a little more. It's real short fur around the nose. This stripe is going to have some, looks a little blue to me, or Payne's gray, but we can just put that over top of this dark sepia. Okay, so now over here, thinking maybe some nougat. So I have a feeling this is off, but until I stand up and really look at it, I'm not gonna mess with it. I like how I said that this was gonna be easy. That was kind of difficult. Probably put some warm gray, I don't know, 3 or 4 coming out of here as well. So this has those little shapes in it too, so that might be easier to do than like lines. I'm gonna try warm gray 3, but if that's not dark enough, then I'll go with the 4. This might be okay. Got a piece of pigment stuck on there. Okay. So then the fur's a little bit. So I'm going to put a little cold gray 2 in here as well. Then I'm going to get warm gray 4. And darken this line a little bit more. And then I'll probably go over it with some nougat or glaze over it because it's really kind of a yellowy, warm gray. So darken my shapes a little bit. So the edge of these shapes is going to give kind of a definition to this patch right there. I'm just looking. Some shapes in here. I'm just trying to soften. If I do, you know, like a hair like that, I don't know, it's kind of rough looking for this area. Too abrupt, I guess, where it's supposed to be soft. All right. So then I'm going to put, let's see if I can find one by 3. This is dark sepia. I'm just trying to pull this lighter patch shape in a little bit. And then I think it goes in, scotch there. Something like that. Okay, I'm gonna stand up for a second, see. Okay, so the eye shape is not bad. This needs to come up a little, which I thought it did. This is not bad. And maybe just take this over a little bit. Missing this part right here. A little bit. Otherwise, I think that's pretty right. I'm still standing and comparing. Sometimes it's good to just leave it for a while. And then usually when I come back the next day, then I tweak a few things. And I tweak them right away because then I won't forget. That's not bad. And this is too light, so I need to refine that too. This part is darker. Okay. All right, this thing needs more color. Now that we did that. Oh, this is cinnamon. Warm gray 2. And what that'll do is it'll kind of fade out the shadows we made. It'll kind of blend them. So then you end up going back and forth, darkening the shadows, blending them out. It makes me feel better though to have the markings kind of sketched in like that. I'm going to add some more color. This is Beaster, especially right here and up top. Sepia. Okay. We'll put some beige red over here, warm it up a little bit. I've got like pigment dust everywhere. Kind of afraid to swoop it away. It's not swooping anyway. Might as well fix this. So it does have some dark spots in there. I think I'm gonna, lines that are shadows. I think I'm gonna use walnut. So I'm just kind of shrinking the shape of it. Some dark sepia. Especially right here. Now he's got some whiskers. He's got black ones coming out here and then they turn white and some here. But I don't even want to mess with that until I'm basically done. Because then if you decide to draw over top, it can smear them, or it depends on how you put them on. But I'm just putting some dark sepia lines in there because I see some darker lines. Maybe a little burnt sienna. Why not? Oh, this paper's whack. Just have to make do. Got like a weird black line in here. See if I get rid of that. Yeah. Maybe some nougat. Oops. Okay, I think that's better. So that's light, that's light, that's light, light. Need to make these colors more saturated, and that. I think I was using, wasn't that brown ochre? Should look at the pencil before I put it on there. Just kind of glazing that on there. Cinnamon. I love cinnamon. I mean, I like the spice too, but this color, it just works so well with animals. spent all that time trying to make the shape smaller, but I would like a couple of swoopy, lighter hairs right here. Uh-oh. Having a hard time with that pigment. This paper is weird. Just have to incorporate it. Can't beat it. Add it in. It's burnt sienna. I'm just trying to cover up my little pieces of pigment that wouldn't erase. Hello, hello. I'm ready to start drawing again on this cat cheek. So I'm just looking. Should probably clean up this little edge right here with one of the greens. Probably the oxide green because I was using that one more. So I'm just going to sharpen it, and it's dark right there. I'm not going to do much right here. Just that piece was kind of bothering me. I think I will grab the lighter one, which was earth green yellowish, to get this little thing here. I don't even know that it was necessary, but I put it in there. Just kind of make it faint. Guess these are okay. They remind me of kind of Pilia. You probably think I talk about the weirdest stuff, but that's what's like a little projection on cells. Maybe like on the inside of intestines or something. Anyway, little protruding weird shapes. That's what these remind me of. I'm just trying to make them look natural, but I don't know, like jagged teeth or something. Because you don't want the cat, like I said before, to look like you cut it out and put it on the background. That's the tricky part, I think. Merging them on there without smearing your colors. And then this edge is so light, which we don't have to do exactly like the reference photo. We're artists, we can do whatever we want. So maybe I will put a little of that red beige on there. And I don't know, let's give it a little bit more color. Maybe a warm gray too. I mean, I'm not doing it real dark anyway. Light pressure. Warm gray too. You'd be proud of me. I've been cleaning up my pencils in between drawing sessions, so you won't have to listen to me search for my pencils for so long. Okay, so while we have the two, I'm going to kind of go over this a little bit more. And it's looking a little, I don't know, grainy in there, but that's when I like it to look grainy because it kind of is the texture of the cat's fur. And I'm going to go, what is this, 2? I'm going to go in here too. Pretty light. Now I see some yellow in here. So I'm thinking about being bold. I don't know. I'm going to put warm gray in here too, even though it's light. I was thinking about yellow ochre. I don't even know if I have that pencil out. I feel like it's a smaller pencil. There it is. Haven't used it for this. Just trying to figure out what's going on with my outlines. So I think this is the black, the spots where the whiskers come out. And then this must be kind of under the cheek. So I think I drew a little bit too much black right there. I'm going to see if I can erase a few of them. Just wiping my Tombow off on my shorts to get the green off. Because I think this is a little lighter piece. It doesn't really have any black on it. So, I mean, we could use some brown ochre. I just want to see what happens. I'm going really light. You might want to wait and see what happens before you try this. So when I first started using colored pencils, I think I thought that there was only, I don't know, a specific color or series of colors that I had to use that was going to get me somewhere. But the more I use them, it's really not true. You can get all similar effects with different colors. I'm going to put this back over it. This is warm gray too. It's okay. Well, I don't know. Probably just stick with the old Beaster for now. And probably some of the brown ochre that has a really nice yellowy color. I'm really going for more color right here, not distinct first strokes. I keep getting lost in this reference photo. I don't know if it's just the way that I have it seated, maybe. I think it's placed a little bit too high for me. But I have it taped on a drawing board, which is on a slanted drawing board, so I really don't feel like changing it. I think that makes more sense than the yellow ochre. So sometimes what I'll do is just have a piece of scrap paper and then kind of scribble what I think maybe I should use on that. Okay, I would like some more color on this side. What else can we put? I'm going to put some cold gray 1. I guess that's sharp enough. On this part of his cheek, just looks a little cooler right there. So right here, I'm just trying to kind of build up the base, and then we can put some hairs over top of it. Now this piece, oh, guess that's okay. I'm just going to map in. Better sit up tall so I can see this. These dots that hold the whiskers. Keeping in mind that sometimes I don't remember what I was doing when I drew my outline, which is why I don't get too crazy with my outline anyway. I like to use it as a reference. Not be exact about it. Okay, so this is a little bit higher than this piece of the cat's nose. Should have probably done this in sepia. I'm gonna switch because it's got a lot of other colors around it. So I'll put black on it at the end, but there's always a worry that I'm gonna drag some ivory or something over it. It's gonna muddle it. Okay, so it looks like I was doing this as the second row, and this is the first row. This dot is really close to that one. I'm just doing some lines for it because it has different color fur in there. And it looks like that. That's way off. Based on this thing, it should be more like here, I think. Let's see. I'm just gently erasing it. I don't want to damage the tooth of the paper, so I don't get rid of it all the way, which is unfortunate, but I'll draw, I'll be able to mask it, I think. So it's probably like that. And then there's one right there. And one more. And oh, I'm using black again. And it goes like that. That's bad. Okay. So because I did that black, I'm gonna grab warm gray 1. That is white. Okay, that helps me better with this cheek. I'm just comparing it again. Because I just want to know where this piece comes down to. And then there's a piece of, I don't know, there's some dark sepia over here. But I'm going to put, first I'm going to put some warm gray down here because, like I told you, it's easier to erase if you have something underneath. So I should have done that right there, but I did not. See, I have this spot right here. Okay. I'm going to draw a couple shapes. I'm going to draw a shape over that dot. Okay. So if that is that, where's my roller? I do have those little caliper things that you can measure stuff with, but I don't. That's 1 inch. That is not quite 1 inch. It's pretty close, maybe a little bit higher. So I think we were right with this. That's how far that little upper portion of his cheek goes. Okay. So I'm just going to flesh that out a little bit more. Gonna use warm gray 2. You can see where I put that yellow. Lesson learned, yellow. You're going back. You're going back into your yellow jar. I'm looking for the burnt ochre. I know it's small. I have a shorter jar that has small pieces in it. So this is burnt ochre. I'm not gonna put it everywhere right here. And then I'm going to put it here. And it kind of looks like it's going down the side of this black patch to here. Probably cinnamon. I just want some more color in these spots. And it could be red beige, but that's okay. I need some more to brighten this up over there. It's a little too dark. Okay, so I'm gonna start darkening again. So I think a cold gray would be good. Dark cold gray. Let's try. That is a warm gray. Or you know what? Some pains. I'm gonna put some pains in here. Is that sharp? Okay, so this is where you kind of got to be careful to make sure you leave some white spots, indicating the fur. So just remember that it's easier to add more pencil marks than take away. So to leave more white up front is way better than having to try and go and erase it. You can see right there what that does. No good. So there's some hairs going this way and then some this way. So just try and make sure you're following the direction. So it's going to get tricky, especially around the nose when you start having the hairs going in all different directions. And then try and make the hairs the length that they are, the strokes that you're making, the same length that they are in the reference photo. Because that would make a big difference too. I have to sharpen again. At some point in the middle there, it starts to curve straight out. Let's see. So I need to be doing this. It's kind of odd because it's right here. They're going like that. But here, well, there's some going like that here. Right there. And I'm going to use lighter pressure over here. Being real light down here. And I can see where I put marks before, which when I was talking about how it kind of trains it, it does. Well, I think it does anyway. Okay, so and then I want to keep this piece here, and I've got some lines going into it. Definitely have to darken this. I'll do that with black, but I'll make some hairlines into the more orangey piece with this Payne's Gray. This is kind of a mess over here. Okay. Not digging what I did right there. But because I had stuff underneath of it, I can erase it easier. I also need to pull out some black lines from the eye. Before I started today, I went over the eyes a little bit with some black. Usually when I first sit down, I see some things that I want to fix. And I fix them first. Gotta be careful with this. So it's just the black. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because I don't want it to be too dramatic. I'm just going to see if this works here. This is caput mortem, but don't do it till I figure it out. It's okay. It was probably better to do the burnt sienna. Yeah, that's better. So I'm just going to put some kind of first strokes in here with the burnt sienna. Not a ton. Okay, that's not bad. So, need to continue to refine this, and then we can work out that way. So for this area, so you see how it's lighter here, and it continues down to the muzzle of the kitty cat. So that needs to match. And I think it's just, we'll try the beige and warm gray too. Oh, I'm sorry. Red, beige, red, and warm gray too. I'll sharpen that. Okay. So this will still need to be darker, which is fine. Until I've figured out that I have the shape right, I'm not gonna push it. Same thing with that piece. So this is the warm gray too. Probably should have taken that red beige over here. Let's do that. Okay. So maybe a brown, walnut brown pencil would be good here. To help us figure out where these hairs go. Here's my blob that I did. So I didn't bring this over quite as far as it needs to be. So I'm going to do that with the walnut brown. I don't have anything down right there, which is kind of bad. I can feel the difference. I'm just going to put some warm gray on. So we're going to work our way onto this nose. Which I think will be fine with the warm gray one underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just sketching it in, but I'm using the direction or going in the same direction that's the fur is. I need to sharpen it. So right here, you can see it's lighter because it's catching the sun on this little nose. So those hairs are kind of reflecting more light. This is where it gets crazy right here. Hairs going every direction. You got these going this way, curving back in. Yeah, I might leave that pencil mark, to be honest. Okay, so I hope I left enough room for hairs going this way. still needs to be darker in here. I'm gonna use black up closer to the top of the eye. There's spots where I don't even see any lighter here, so I'm gonna kind of fill some areas in. Now black is really what will make it pop. If you can fill in the darks and make them as dark as they need to be, makes a huge difference. So it's already making his eye stand out better. While I'm at it, let's see some areas that just should be darkened a little bit. It's got like a little patch of hairs down here. Might be too late. I might have drawn over them. It doesn't really matter. Might want to color in some of these hairs a little bit more. The ones in between. Sharpen it again. Okay, so I'm going to do this too, this piece. Darken it with black. Trying to just draw lines in there. It's like taking out the whole thing. I'm gonna use some burnt ochre to fill in some of these hairs because they look so, now they look so all white compared to the surrounding. Okay, panes. I think it's sharp. This seems a little bit more blue right here. So that's why I'm using panes. Even here. Trying to make really light lines. I don't know, I might make that worse. It's not too bad. Cinnamon. So I need to flush this out more, and then we can see what we need to do right there. I might need to come in a little there. Okay, so this cheek, maybe put some nougat and warm gray, maybe 3 to define it a little bit. Okay, so I've got warm gray 4. Just gonna provide a little bit more texture in this cheek. So I can see the lines in here, but I don't want to make them too crazy. I guess I don't want to make them too sharp. But I do want to be able to see a line here and there. Okay, so now I'm going to use nougat. Maybe considering some burnt sienna. Especially kind of at the edge here. So this is where the muzzle kind of starts. Right here, and then goes around. So it's not real obvious on the reference photo, but I'm just gonna keep it in mind. I can see kind of clumps of this color, so that's what I'm doing. I'm also drawing some fur lines. It seems a little lighter on the side. So I'm going to leave that be. Okay. Maybe some more of this over. We'll redraw these shapes. And even here. It's a nice warm color. I've got burnt ochre. I just want to refine this up here. Okay. So, considering a little bit of burnt sienna where the black goes into this kind of yellowy brown area. Let's see what that does. Super light over here. Not sure. Sorry, what's wrong with my voice? Okay. I think I'm going to dig out ivory. I haven't used that today. If I find it. As I recall, it's pretty small. There it is. And I'm just going to kind of try and blend this in here. Using a Polychromos to blend the Polychromos on this type of paper isn't as effective as on pastel mat, which is why I was using the titanium buff earlier. Maybe I'll try that. Oh, it's quite small too. So I don't always blend on this type of paper because sometimes I like the way it looks as it is. And I don't know, blending these kind of these fur lines that we have in some spots, it might not turn out that well to try and do that. So I use kind of a medium pressure. This looks poorly right here in my opinion, but I don't, let me see. It's not bad. It looked kind of grainy. And then I would go back over it with a dark sepia. You can always try something in a smaller area to see if it'll be okay. It's all about experimenting. I might need to come in a little with this, but I can't tell very well. Seated. Okay. This is just burnt sienna. And then burnt sienna in here. It's a little bit more orange on my printout reference photo. And I kind of like it better. Warmer than it is on my iPad. About my titanium buff. I'm going to be careful in here because I do have like black and who knows what. Still think I need to darken it some right here, but I'm using the panes. A little bit more blue, especially before it lightens. I don't know, maybe it's allergies or the wildfire smoke from Canada. Quebec. So I think this comes down a little bit more here. The Payne's gray. Okay, so we can always fix that, make it better as we go. Just going to darken those little whisker spots so I don't lose them. Maybe a little more black before we move to the nose.